Hi, my name is Jarda Soukup and I'm a consultant at Brno Expat Centre. We are a public service supported by the city of Brno and we help international professionals working and living in Brno. Today we invited a lawyer, Katerina Hajkova from HW Legal, yes, an expat-friendly service, who is going to help us explain the differences between self-employment and work agreement. Katka, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. We are here today to talk about one of the most often discussed confusions in the working environment, the difference between being a part-timer and self-employed. We will specify what these concepts mean, how they differ from both legal and real-world perspectives, how you can become one or the other, how you stop being one or the other, and what some of the risks that these concepts might bring along to you are. Also, as there have been some changes in the law recently, we have added them to the mix as well. So, without further ado, let's start. Katka, please, who in fact is a part-timer and who is self-employed? What do the DPP and DPC mean? And what does the OSVC abbreviation stand for?
Okay, so in the Czech Republic, we distinguish the employment relationship, which is the basic relationship between the employee and employer. The classic employment relationship is so-called full-time work. It's usually 40 hours a week, and the working hours can be shorter. It can be a part-time work. Part-time work can be useful for a variety of reasons, and if the employee asks for it, sometimes the employer is even obliged to allow part-time work, especially if the employee is pregnant or if they are caring for a child under 15 years or for a disabled person. Mm-hmm. It is clear that part-time work ensues lower pay, shorter holidays, and no overtime pay. Mm-hmm. In addition to the employment relationships, there is a DPP or DPC. These are agreements for work outside the employment relationship, and they are used for occasional work or for supplementary work. These workers are a bit less protected by the labor code than those in employment relationship. But they are still covered by the labor code, and so the employer cannot deny them the rights granted by the law. Mm-hmm. Then there is OSVC, which stands for self-employed worker in Czech. So simply an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Unlike employee or DPP or DPC worker, an OSVC is in an independent position, which it means that he is not tied to a single contractual partner. He has no employer. His authorization does not end with the termination of one contract. And if the self-employed person decides to carry out work for someone, then the labor code does not apply to this, and OSVC is not protected by it in any way.
All right. What is the fundamental difference between the so-called part-timer on either DPP and DPC contract and a self-employed person?
So the DPP or DPC worker performs dependent work, which means that he must follow the employer's instructions. He has limited liability for damages. So, for example, if you're an IT employee on DPP or DPC and you cause damage to your employer by accidentally spilling coffee on your work computer, then you are only liable for up to 4.5 times your monthly salary. There are some exceptions to this. But both DPP and DPC relationships are covered by the labor code, and the workers' rights cannot be less favorable than those provided by the law. Mm-hmm. In contrast, OSVC is entrepreneur as well as the other party. So it is a relationship of equals. There is no employer giving instructions. If the self-employed person causes damage to anyone, he or she is fully liable. The labor code does not apply at all. And the work of the self-employed person as well is not taxed as dependent work. The self-employed person has to pay his taxes and his insurance by himself. If we want to have an example, there are the Foodora or Volt partners who deliver food, and those are mostly OSVCs. They pay their insurance, their taxes, they use their own bikes or vehicles, and basically they have the freedom to work a lot and earn a lot, or do nothing and earn nothing.
All right, how do you become a DPP or DPC part-timer or self-employed? What criteria do you need to meet?
So in both cases, you need to enter into a contract. In the case of DPP or DPC, a written contract is required by the law. For self-employed workers, written contract is highly recommended, but it's not required by the law. I recommend to stipulate all the details of the work to be done, all the deadlines for delivering outputs, and all the details of remuneration, etc. Then there are some limitations caused by having or not having free access to the labor market, and it's connected to various residence permits. So for EU citizens, European Economic Area and Swiss citizens, they have free access to the labor market, and they can work as employees. They can be temporary or part-time employees, DPC, DPP, and they can be also self-employed under the same conditions as Czech citizens. On the other side, there are foreigners from the third countries who have access to the labor market. If, for example, they have acquired permanent residency in the Czech Republic, they are full-time students at university, and in some other cases. Otherwise, they must obtain their residency permit. However, there are some restrictions with this. The blue card can be only issued for an employment contract, not a DPC or DPP. And employee card or work permit can only be issued or for employment contract or DPC, not a DPP. Then, for example, family members of European Union citizens, they have free access to the labor market. If they are holders of long-term residency for family reunification, they can also work on DPC or DPP as they please. Yeah. And foreigners from the third countries can also become self-employed, but they must always fulfill the purpose of their stay in the Czech Republic. So they can have a business as a secondary activity here if they are employed on employment card. And also, for example, if they are during their studies here in the Czech Republic, they can also earn money as OSVCs, but they have to comply with their purpose of studying. Or also they can have long-term residency for the purpose of business, where business is their main activity. If they want to have a secondary activity, employment, they need to obtain the employment permit. Foreigners can apply for a long-term residency permit for business purposes if they either hold a long-term visa for the purpose of business, or they hold any long-term residency permit for any purpose, and have also been resided in the Czech Republic for at least 5 years. So in summary, there are first the persons with the free access to the labor market, and these persons can do whatever they want. And then there are other persons who need to fulfill their purpose of stay in the Czech Republic. Of course, if anyone wants to become self-employed, they need a trade license.
Yes, and of course, this is like a whole new concept, completely different and quite big. So we don't have the time to discuss it here today. But on our website, we have a very, very detailed guide on how to obtain a trade license. So if you want to know about that, visit our website and read it there.
And one concluding comment, working on DPP or DPC is not mutually exclusive, also working as OSVC, so you can have multiple DPPs, DPCs, employment relationship and work as employment, self-employed person for many contractors, as long as you can manage your time.
Yes. All right, cool, thank you. What would you say are the practical differences between the two concepts? Like, for example, the limits of yearly working hours, shift planning, vacations, and others?
Yeah, so time limits. There is a time limit for the DPP contract. It can be concluded for a maximum of 300 hours per year with one employer. If an employee has more than one DPP with the same employer, the time limit of 300 hours applies to all of them jointly. And but if the worker has more DPPs with more employers, then he can use the 300 hours per year limit for each of the employers separately. The DPC, on the other hand, is not limited by a total amount of hours, the total number of hours, but the average weekly working time must be no more than 20 hours a week. So it is the half of the stipulated weekly working time in the employment contract, which is 40 hours. It's one half. So some weeks the worker can work longer than 20 hours, then some weeks again he needs to work less. DPC can last for indefinite or a fixed period of time. The DPP and DPC contract must always specify the type of work and the duration. As for the DPC, it must also specify the working hours. As for the OSVC, it is not limited in time. It can is issued for as long as you have the trade license. The next thing is the planning of shifts. In the case of DPP and DPC, the employer always have to schedule the employees' working hours in writing at least 3 days before the start of the shift. As for the OSVC, this does not apply at all. There is no regulation. Third thing is salary. There is a minimum wage for DPP and DPC. The minimum wage depends on whether it's hourly or monthly, but the minimum hourly wage is 112.5 Czech crowns per hour. And there is no minimum or guaranteed wage for the OSVC. It all depends on the terms agreed with the other party.
Yes.
Then the fourth thing is paid vacation.
Yes, that's one of the new things, right?
Yes, it is new. It's new in the labor code since October of the last year. In the case of DPP and DPC, newly the employees are entitled to vacation, which means paid time off, provided that two conditions are met. At least 4 weeks of the continuous employment according to the agreement. So the contract has to last at least 4 weeks, and the employer has to perform work for at least 80 hours for the employer. As for the OSVC, they are not entitled to paid vacation at all, and any time off has to be stipulated in a suitable way in the contract with the other party. The fifth thing is maternity, paternity, and parental leave. The DPP and DPC workers have right to take time off work in cases of maternity, paternity, and parental leave. In these cases, if they pay insurance, they get financial support from the state, and it's basically the same as with the employees in the employment relationship. But there is a difference for some cases for the DPP and DPC workers. For example, the doctor's appointment. They get time off work, they can go to the doctor, but unlike the regular employees, they don't get wage compensation for the time spent off work. As for OSVCs, again, they are not covered by this regulation at all, but they can choose, if they want to, they can pay insurance and get maternity, parental or paternity leave.
Okay, and how do you stop being a DPP or DPC or self-employed? Or even more interestingly, can you become fully employed for one of the two?
Okay, so I will start with the termination. Termination of DPP and DPC must always be in writing, otherwise it has no effect under the law. The DPP must and the DPC may, and if they are agreed for a fixed duration, then they end on expiry of the term. It may also end by agreement on an agreed date. And also it can end by a notice given both by the employer or the employee, and it can be for any reason or no reason. There is a 15-day notice which runs from the day of delivery of the notice, and upon expiry of this notice period, then the employment or the contract ends. Further, DPP or DPC may end by immediate termination, which is especially linked to very serious breach of duty by the worker or by non-payment of remuneration by the employer. Now, if the DPP or DPC worker would like to work in employment relationship, then he can ask the employer to shift this or to switch into employment relationship if his contract lasted at least 180 days in the last 12 months. So the employer then is obliged to give him a reasoned written answer in 1 month, whether he agrees or not, and in principle the employer should agree to the employment contract if there are not some justified reasons to refuse. The self-employed worker may terminate the work for the other party, again upon expiry of the agreed period, notice, withdrawal or other ways under contract or the statutory conditions. And if the OSVC would like to discontinue his business and not carry out his OSVC work anymore, then he may at any time apply to the trade licensing office for the cancellation of his trade license.
Okay, and are there any risks connected to these concepts that you can think of?
Yes, it is called Schwarz system, and you should watch out because sometimes employers are using self-employed workers, the OSVCs, to perform employee work. Employee work is a dependent work under the employer's instructions, performed in a relationship of superior employer and subordinate employee on the behalf of employer and on employer's expense and responsibility. The self-employed worker is cheaper for the employer, and that's because we have talked about it. The self-employed person has no right to vacation, no paid vacation. It is harder for the employer to end the relationship with someone covered by the labor code. Also, he needs to pay the taxes, the insurance. All in all, any employee or DPC, DPP workers are more expensive for the employer than OSVC workers. So it is happening for this reason, but it's an offense committed both by the employee and the employer, and high fines are given for this.
All right. So you would say that if an employee, yeah, you're saying?
I'm sorry.
It's fine, no worries. That if you work as an self-employed person, but it seems like you are an employee, it is not good. It is
no,
right.
it is an offense. So you can get a fine whether you are an employee or employer. So I do not recommend it.
All right. Okay, so avoid Schwarz system. And do you have any concluding comments and tips?
Yes, so what I would like to say is that there are some changes currently happening to the law in this area, but there is nothing in the legislative process yet, so we don't know the specifics, but yeah, we will see.
Definitely. And of course, just like always, we will keep you informed of the changes. So follow our blog, follow our Facebook, and keep in touch. And that is all from us. Do you have any questions? All right, seems like we do have questions.
Okay.
Adri Ellen, sorry if I butchered your name, Adri, is asking if you can have a full-time job at an employer and also another part-time one, DPP or DPC.
Yes, this is possible because the full-time job, employment, and the DPP or DPC, they are not mutually exclusive. Of course, you need to pay attention to your time schedule. So you need to be able to manage your time and be in the employment at work as long as you are required, and then you do your other work on DPP or DPC. But it's possible, of course.
Mm-hmm. Adri is also asking who pays social and health insurance in case of DPP and DPC.
These are paid by the employer. Of course, there are some limits of pay. So if the wage is too low, then no insurance is paid from this. But if the wage from the DPP is at least 10,000 crowns,
yes.
and at DPC 4,000 crowns, then the employer has to pay your insurance.
Yes, but just to clarify, it is only paid for those months in which you really surpass these two amounts, depending on the contract. So, for example, if you make more than 10,000 for a DPP contract in March, April, but not May, then health and social insurance is paid for March and April, but not for May. Have I said it? Yes, good. I registered myself as an OSVC, but I never worked as OSVC. However, I did not put my record on hold or nor cancelled for 2 years until I found out this is legal requirement. I was not registered as OSVC to social and health insurance then. Those were paid by my regular employer. Any impacts this could have? Any impact, any other legal obligations I have?
Well, I think that it's best if you write me an email and we discuss it in more detail, because I think I will need more details to answer these questions.
Yeah, more information. Yes. How complicated is it to manage taxing?
I'm sorry, I just want to say you can write an email to me directly. I think it should be in the details of the webinar, or you can find it on my website. Okay, we can go.
However, if you don't know how to reach Katka, then you can write us and we will connect you, no worries. Yusuf Alp Arslan is asking, how complicated is it to manage taxing procedure when someone has an OSVC?
It is not so difficult, but of course you can reach to a tax advisor if you are not sure about it. There is an automatic form on the website of the tax authorities, and it should be quite
straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward. But if you're not sure, then I recommend you reach out to a tax advisor.
Yeah, we actually, to our clients, we always recommend to get a tax consultant when you're in this situation, because you can make a mistake very easily and it can become expensive, so it's always better. Magdalena is asking, if you're a third country national with employee card, what are the options for a legal part-time job?
So with employee card, you are probably employed in an employment relationship, or you have a DPC. So you have also, if you have the dual employee card, you have the right to be employed here, and you have the right to reside here. And if you want to have a part-time job as an OSVC, you can do that. If you want to have another employment or another DPP or DPC, you can also do it, because you are going to still fulfill the purpose of your stay, and I think you should be notifying the authorities about this only. There should be a duty to notify, but it's possible.
I was just asking about, what about golden visa opportunities for foreigners?
Golden visa opportunities. I think I'm not sure what you mean by this, but you can. I can look into it, and you can, of course, write me an email.
And can you explain about investors' visa requirements? I'm afraid that that's a little bit far from our today's point.
Yeah.
So maybe Avjal write us an inquiry. However, I'm not sure if we even can talk about, because investors are not like our agenda either. So we can give it a try, but I cannot guarantee anything. Dare is asking, does third country national with permanent residence have same level of labor access like EU nationals?
So if you have a permanent residency, you should have the access to the free access to the labor market. It should be possible. Yeah. But the fact is that if you it's for the labor market, and if you want to be an OSVC, then you need to have you need to fulfill some other conditions, which is you have the long-term visa for the business purposes, or you have stayed in the Czech Republic for at least 5 years with the permanent residency for any purpose. And of course, we can look into your permanent residency residency permit, and we can discuss what are your options if you write me an email.
Vierka is asking, when I'm foreigner from EU and I lost my job and I don't want to be at the labor office, can I only pay health insurance and stay without job until I find something suitable? Or is it not allowed here in the Czech Republic? Do I have to pay social insurance as a foreigner, or can I stay only by paying health insurance and is searching job opportunities as a freelancer? Can you take it, or should I?
Well, you can answer, and I will maybe have some remarks.
All right. So basically, if you're a foreigner from European Union and you lose your job, you have several ways how you stay in the system. If you don't want to be registered at the labor office, then pretty much you might also become economically dependent on your economically active EU spouse. Or you can try to apply for the factual residence registration, by which you will prove your professional and family bonds in the Czech Republic for a period longer than 3 months. However, it is not always guaranteed, because each case is assessed individually, so not everyone is guaranteed to prove that as well. And as for the social insurance, you, as someone who is unemployed, you do not necessarily pay it.
It's paid by the state.
Yes, yes. So it is not something that you should worry about all that much.
Yeah. As for the social insurance, you cannot actually pay it by yourself. So the state is paying for it.
If you're registered at the labor office, if you're not registered at the labor office, then nobody's paying for it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right, so we're waiting for some more questions if you have. So you have, let's say, a minute to type what's troubling you. Oh, Vierka is asking that she's from Slovak Republic and also owning a 50-50 house with her ex-partner. And what is your question, Vierka? When I'm a foreigner from EU and I lost my job and I don't want to be at the... Oh, no. That was what we've already had. Oh, she's explaining. All right. Oh, all right. So it was an explanation of the already answered question. So yes, if you're employed, if you're unemployed, you've got several options as an EU citizen. Again, visit our guide. It is written there in more detail. All right, and that is all. There are no more comments, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found this webinar useful for you. Thank you, Katka, for coming. You were amazing.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And good luck in your future endeavors. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Thank you.